what in the world is interfacing and how do we use it in our sewing? Where do we get it? How do we use it? What's it for? How do we apply it to the fabric? What do we even do with it and what is the purpose? I'm going to address all those questions right now, and at the end I'm even going to show you how to apply your fusible interfacing to your fabric for your project. Hello, I'm Jessica. This is the Pin Drop Shop YouTube channel where we focus on sewing deep dives. So let's get into interfacing. So interfacing comes in fusible and non-fusible. What this means is you can adhere it to your fabric or you can just sew it to your fabric. But let's back up. What is this even for? So interfacing is basically another piece of fabric that you're going to use to beef up your fabric. So instead of having your fabric create something that's going to be kind of flimsy, it's going to just make your fabric a little heavier, like it's a double layer or even more, and it's just going to make it that much better. Sometimes bags need this for more structure, sometimes garments need it, especially if it has a collar. It's going to keep your collar crisp. You wouldn't use it throughout the entire piece, but just at those certain points like the collar, the button band, things that you need to stay structured. Even if you just have a buttonhole, just a piece of interfacing is good for a buttonhole or a drawstring hole because it's going to keep the fraying under control and it's going to keep the material backed up so that it can take that constant abuse. So let's look at a few interfacings. A lot of the ones that we carry here, I think all of them are made by Pillon. So let's start with this one, which is my most commonly used one. This is Shapeflex SF101. So a lot of interfacings are not actually a woven fabric. They're like a non-woven, like not normal fabric. This one actually is like a normal woven cotton. So it actually is like a piece of cotton fabric, but then it has the little fusible bumps on the back. So what is this? So you'll notice when you get some interfacing that on one side it has these little bumps, and then the other side it's more or less smooth like normal cotton. The side with the bumps is actually an adhesive. It's like a glue. So when you put this interfacing onto your fabric and then you press it with the iron, all these little beads of glue are going to melt, and it's going to pretty much permanently adhere this interfacing to your fabric so that it's just stuck together, and now your fabric is ultra reinforced and like double layer. So this is one of my favorites because it's made from a woven fabric, so it behaves the way that a fabric behaves. It doesn't it's just nice. I just like it. It makes the garment stay nice. It's good for garments. So that's the Shapeflex SF101. So normally that would be in white, but I also have it in black so that it doesn't mess up your fabrics. If a little bit of that would peek through, you can use the dark one if that would be more appropriate for your garment. So those are the two Shapeflexes, and that would be a lightweight fusible interfacing. So here's something that's another lightweight fusible interfacing. This is called Fusible Featherweight, and this is in the charcoal color too. So very similar to Shapeflex, except you can see this is that non-woven fabric. It's just not cotton. So this would be great for a lot of things as well. Bags and things, I'd be more likely to use that one. I really would like the Shapeflex. Anytime I'm making a cotton garment, that way I can say it's still pretty much 100% cotton too. This is kind of different. This is a knit interfacing, and it's black too, and it's a fusible. You can see the little beads of glue. So knit meaning it's going to stretch with your knit fabric. So pretty cool. Knit interfacing. This would be great if you're making a knit garment, but you just have some parts that you'd like to be reinforced. So these are great for that. So those are some lightweight fusible interfacings. So then we have here a midweight stabilizer. This is not fusible. It's just a midweight stabilizer. So you could use this, you can see it's a little bit stiff. So you could put this in like a bag to make the bag stand up. Things like that. Also for bags, one of my favorite things, Pillon Flex Foam. Look at this stuff. Look how thick. So you get this flex foam and you sew it into your bags like Mary has done to make this Halloween bag from our Home Sweet Haunt fabric. And look at that. Look how nice and structured. It stands up on its own. It's not flimsy. That's because of the flex foam. So the flex foam is in between the outer green layer and that inner orange layer, and it's inside there. And she probably also used some fusible interfacing on the lining layer, I would think. I believe she did. So this is a Pepin tote she made from our Home Sweet Haunt fabric. Awesome job by Mary. So that's that. And then here's a couple things that you could use more lightweight interfacings on. She made these bags and she interfaced the lining just so they're not so wimpy. They have a little bit of substance. You can see we have the popcorn pouches here. So you see this little popcorn pouch, patterned by Mr. Baker, is meant to puff up like this and look like a bag of microwave popcorn. And if it didn't have that interfacing, you would have a hard time getting it to pop up like that. It would just be so flimsy. It wouldn't have shape, it wouldn't have structure. So the interfacing is the magic in the middle. I believe that's actually Pellon's slogan. So then here's another thing. This is Wonder Under. So we have it both regular and heavy duty Wonder Under. So what this is, it's a two-sided adhesive. So this is kind of, I think of this as kind of like a fray check in sheets. So let's say you wanted to applique something, like you wanted to cut out a heart shape and stick it onto your quilt or something, and you didn't really want to finish those edges. You don't want to serge it, you don't want to fold it over and stitch it, you don't want to do a needle turn applique, you don't want to do any of that. You just want to leave it raw and slap it on there and stitch it on and call it a day. Wonder Under is the product you need. So what you're going to do is adhere this Wonder Under to your fabric, then cut out your heart shape, then peel off the other side of the paper, and then what you have is basically a fusible heart that you're going to stick to your quilt and then iron it on. So it's a two-sided adhesive, and it's really strong, especially the heavy-duty one, so it's actually going to stop the fray. So you can stick something on, you can even wash it, and it's going to do a pretty good job of keeping it from fraying and keeping it stuck to your other piece. So that's all about the interfacing. Now let's go apply some. Okay, so let's go ahead and press this on. So this is just a little tag that came in a piece of our new fabric, the Cottage Grove Art Gallery. So it's a little tag. I'm going to interface it so that when I put it on something, it's not too see-through. Like, see how you can kind of see through it? So I just want to interface it so that it can be better. So you're going to need a pressing cloth so that you don't get the adhesive on your ironing board. So go ahead and lay that out. And then I'm just going to cut this out a little bit more, this piece of interfacing, to be a little more even with the piece. Okay, so now remember our fusible interfacing has the bumpy side, which is the glue, and then the smooth side. So we want bumpy side to be touching wrong side of our fabric, and then we're going to flip it over. Because the pressing cloth is there, because some of this where it overhangs, when it melts, that glue's going to stick, and we don't want it to stick to your ironing board, so we just have a pressing cloth there. Okay, then you're ready to just give it a little bit of steam if you want. That helps it heat up and stick, and then just press. Once you think it might be adhered, check the corners. The corners don't always want to stay down. You can see this one's pretty good, but that one needs to be pressed again. See, it sticks to the pressing cloth, but that's okay. And a little more there. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now it's nice and Now it's nice and reinforced and I can use this tag. It'll be much better. So then you can go ahead and trim it down more or do whatever you're going to do with it. So that's how you apply fusible interfacing. So those are some of my favorite interfacings. What do you guys like to use? These were just a few. This is not an exhaustive list at all. So leave me a comment down below with what interfacings you've been using a lot lately and what you've been making, and if you have any other questions about interfacing or anything else. Also, if you needed to order any interfacing, head over to our website, shoppindrop.com, where you can check out all that and more. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content and you found value in it, please give me a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel for more sewing deep dives. So thanks again, and until next time, happy sewing.